Hello, apologies for the bad lighting. It is currently 10 p.m. and we are about to go to an Iron Flame midnight release party. I don't know about you guys, but I have not heard of bookstores doing midnight release parties since the last Harry Potter books came out. So I am very, very excited to be going to this release and to have it be for a book that I'm actually really excited about. I cannot wait. Basically what I've told is going to happen is the event started at 9. It's currently 10. I think I'm going to get there around 11. They're going to give us wristbands for different quadrants. And then when our quadrant gets called at midnight, then we'll be able to go buy the book. I've been rereading Fourth Wing today. I am, let me see how far I am. I'm currently under a little halfway through rereading Fourth Wing. So our plan together is going to be to go to this release party. We're gonna grab our copy of Iron Flame. I'm really hoping, I'll put the pictures up here. I'm really hoping that they have this special edition of Fourth Wing because I don't currently have an edition of Fourth Wing. So that is my hunt this week, is to see if I can find one, because I originally, when I read it, it was sold out everywhere and I read it on audiobook, and I'm rereading it on audiobook, and I've stopped myself from buying it because I was hoping they would come out with a special edition with sprayed edges again, and it looks like that has happened. So I am anxiously anticipating, hopefully they will have it at this release party. If they don't, I'm gonna go to my independent bookstore tomorrow morning and see if I can snag one. Okay, I will see you guys at the event. I'm so tired, I'm going to bed immediately, but I got it. It was so fun. I'm going to tell you about everything tomorrow morning, but I got everything that I wanted. I'm so happy. I am beyond excited that they had the special editions of Fourth Wing, and the bookseller was so sweet. Some of their copies were damaged and she helped me like dig through to find one that wasn't. I finally have a copy of Fourth Wing. And I have a copy of Iron Flame. It was so much fun. They counted down until midnight and then let us buy the books. And I'm gonna tell you all about it in the morning. Good night. Hi, I have slept. I feel better. Let's talk about these books. So, first of all, this edition of Fourth Wing, stunning with the sprayed edges. I'm very happy about this. And I need to show you how gigantic this book is. I wasn't expecting this much of a difference in the books, but she's chunky. And this apparently has extra chapters from Xaden's point of view. Interesting. I am like almost done with it. I'm almost done with it. Every single chance I have gotten today, it's just after 5 p.m. on Tuesday, by the way. I wasn't able to chat to you this morning. I had too many things to do. But I'm almost done with this. I have been listening to the audiobook every chance that I have gotten while I have been cruising away at work. I am really glad that I went to the live event last night, but I'm not gonna say that it didn't hurt when I woke up this morning and saw that my local independent bookstore had signed copies of both of these books this morning. But honestly, I feel like the experience of going to the midnight release party was more important to me, I think, than having a signed copy. I'm going to go to my independent bookstore right now to go pick up Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree, which is a little cozy fantasy sequel that's coming out today as well. If they do still have a signed copy of Iron Flame or Fourth Wing left, I may just have to get it. I don't make the rules. I'm sure they're sold out by now, because I'm sure they're sold out by now. But anyways, there's that update. If you live in Charlotte, North Carolina, Park Road Books always has signed copies. Like, more than any other bookstore that I've ever known, they always have signed copies. Like, R.F. Kuang always has signed copies there. Seriously, if you're like a person who really likes signed copies, Park Road Books always has them on release day. Just like go in the morning of release day and I'm sure you'll be able to get one. But I was talking to one of the booksellers last night at Barnes & Noble, and he was saying that the last time they did a midnight release party was for one of the Twilight books back in 2008. Which means that I think the last midnight release that I went to was in 2007, I think, for the last Harry Potter book, and I would have been like 8 years old. I was talking to a woman while I was in line, and we were commiserating about how tired we were because daylight savings time just happened, so it felt like I was in a bookstore at 1 in the morning, and it was just a very interesting experience, to say the least. I was so tired, but I'm really glad that I went. front. They had these cute little things set up. They had a scavenger hunt. They had, you could like make your own dagger, you could make a friendship bracelet. There were so many cute things, and it was just a bunch of girlies. There were like maybe 5 men there, and it was just a bunch of girlies talking about books, and it was a really lovely time, and I'm really glad that I went. I think what's gonna happen now is I'm gonna go to the bookstore to grab Bookshops and Bone Dust, and while I'm in the car, I'll finish listening to the audiobook of this guy, and then we can read together the extra chapters in here, and I will let you guys know what's going on with that. I did a poll on Instagram and on the YouTube community page about whether or not you guys want to see spoilers for Iron Flame. It's looking so far like you want spoilers, so I'm excited. I kind of want you guys to want spoilers too. I am home, mission accomplished. We found Bookshops and Bone Dust. I am in comfy clothes. They were sold out completely of every copy of Iron Flame. They just had a couple that were reserved for people who had pre-ordered, and they had 1 copy left of Fourth Wing, but it wasn't a signed copy. They were sold out of all their signed copies. She was saying that they had people calling them this morning who were just calling, asking for signed copies, and then the second they said no, they were hanging up, like people who were trying to buy every signed copy they could find so they could resell them, which icky behavior, don't do that. So I'm very glad that I got my copies last night. I've now finished reading Fourth Wing, and it was just as good as I remember it being. The representation in here is just so important to me. I know this is a silly book about dragons, and it's a horny book, and it's probably not the best written thing, and it does continue to make me roll my eyes a little bit every time that I read it. Seeing representation for EDS is never something that I have ever experienced in literature before, and you guys who have been here for a long time remember the first time that I read this book. It took me completely by surprise, and I wasn't expecting it. I am just so happy that a book that is this popular is a book that I see myself represented in, and that's really cool. And even though my body doesn't work, our main character's body also doesn't work, and she's still a badass and she rides dragons. So I can do anything. I just really like the way that it's portrayed in here, and she is stronger mentally because she lives her whole life in pain. And I know that the representation in here isn't gonna work for everyone. It's not gonna work for everyone who has EDS. It's not gonna work for everyone who has other chronic illnesses, but it really did work for me. Now we get to read these extra chapters. I believe they're from Zayden's point of view, and I'm excited to find out what Zayden has to say. Let's read. I just finished reading the extra chapters of Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing spoilers incoming. This is your warning. Click off now. I'm going to tell you what's in these 2 bonus chapters so you can decide if you want to spend $30 on this special edition. If you've already read Fourth Wing and you already own a copy of Fourth Wing, I would skip it unless you really want this special edition. But I don't think there's enough in those 2 chapters to warrant spending another $30 because it is 2 chapters that we've already seen. Like, we've already gotten Violet's perspective on both of those chapters. And this is just Zayden's perspective. It is the scene where Violet and Zayden spar when she poisons her opponent too much and they don't make it to the mat. When he disarms her and they have their little moment of something and they're a little attracted to each other. And then the second chapter is right after Threshing when Violet comes back with her dragons and they're trying to figure out what to do and Dane kisses her. We get to see that from Zayden's perspective. So I think if you're primarily a Fourth Wing girly for the romance and you want to see 2 chapters from Zayden's perspective, they picked 2 chapters very specifically for those girlies. So if you're one of those girlies and you really do want to see those, that's what it is. Those are the chapters. I had a good time reading them. But if I'm being honest with you, the romance is not the reason why I love this book. It's for Violet and the representation and the dragons and the turn my brain off good time. I also do enjoy the romance. Don't get me wrong. That's Fourth Wing. It is now finally time to pick up Iron Flame. I don't think I'm going to read the description. I don't think I'm going to read the back. I think I'm just gonna get into it. I do want to show you guys the dedication, but the lighting in here is not ideal, so I'm gonna put a picture here. It says, "To my fellow zebras, not all strength is physical." I am so happy that you put a nod in this dedication to those of us with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I think that this book has been so important for so many of us, and I was really, really happy. It put a big smile on my face to see that dedication last night. Ooh, this is split up into parts. I don't remember Fourth Wing being split up into parts, but we've got part 1 here. I am so excited to read this. I have the audiobook is also on Scribd. I guess it's not called Scribd anymore. It's called Everand. So the audiobook for Iron Flame is available on Everand. It is past my bedtime. So I'm gonna grab the doggies. We're gonna go on our bedtime walk. I'm gonna listen to the audiobook while we're on our walk, and I will let you know how the first couple chapters went in the morning. I am 4 chapters into Iron Flame, and I have decided what we're doing in terms of spoilers. So about 70% of you on both platforms wanted spoilers. So I am going to include spoilers, but I think 30% is enough people that I want to make sure that for those of you who don't want to see spoilers, that you can avoid the spoilers. So I'm going to timestamp this entire video with spoiler and non-spoiler sections. I'm going to try to check in with you. This one is broken into parts, so depending on how long the part's in, I think at least once apart, and we'll do a non-spoiler section and a spoiler section. Right off the top of the bat, I want to talk to you about the audiobook for this because I believe it's narrated by the same person, but unfortunately I don't love the audiobook for Iron Flame as much as I did for Fourth Wing. I feel like it can be really tricky in a fantasy novel when you have a lot of characters, a lot of dialogue, you're hearing thoughts of these dragons, you're hearing things that are like when our main characters are talking to their dragons. Sometimes it's not clear in the audiobook what's being said out loud and what's being said mentally, if that makes sense. By the way, here I am going to be including spoilers for Fourth Wing. Spoilers for Fourth Wing incoming. So I think primarily I'm going to be reading this physically because the audiobook is already a little bit confusing, only 4 chapters in. Just to give you a sense of how far that is in the book, it's only 40 pages. So I've really read almost nothing at all, but I wanted to come here and give you a little update on how the first chunk of this is going. As of now, I think the beginning of this it's not slower, but it feels like there is a lot of logistics that we need to have happen in order to get into the meat and potatoes of what this is going to be. So it's feeling a little bit less immediately enthralling than Fourth Wing was, right? We started Fourth Wing at a very integral moment. We were trying to figure out what was going on. Violet is entering this military college. We're learning all these dynamics between her and her mom and her family, and she's crossing the parapet, right? It's all very exciting. Here, where we left off Fourth Wing, learning about this whole revolution, now we kind of have to figure out how we're gonna get back to unwinding all of these webs of what's going on with this whole revolution. What's going on? Are they going back to Basgiath? Are they going to be staying with this revolution? Like, what's up with her brother? She needs to talk to her brother. That's a whole thing that's going on because he's not dead. There's a lot of things that we kind of need to do, and it's feeling a little bit simultaneously boring and rushed because we have so many things we need to cover. It's something that happens with sequels a lot, right? We need to wrap up the things that we left off the cliffhanger for so we can get into the rising action for this book. I feel like it's this like sequel syndrome where if we have an established relationship in the first book, there has to be a huge conflict at the beginning of the second one. They can't just be happy. And I kind of hate that because I just want people to be happy. Those are my non-spoilery thoughts. Let's talk spoilers. We have this whole political maneuvering with Dane's dad. His name's like Commander Atos or something. I don't know his first name. I'm super sorry. They politically maneuver him so that basically everyone gets to go back into the college. And it was really funny the way that they did it. I liked it. I love a dramatic moment. They're like reading off the death roll and they're reading off, they get to Xaden's name. They read his name off because they've decided that he's dead. And he goes, well, this is awkward because I'm not dead. And I thought that was a really funny moment. I really enjoyed that. And yeah, they did their political maneuvering. They get to graduate. Xaden is graduating. We're just about to find out where he's going to be stationed. And that's all I know. I'm going to go get lunch with my friend. I will see y'all later. time I spoke to you, I was not enjoying this, and oh, how the tables have turned. I devoured almost 200 pages of this yesterday. I could not stop myself. I am gonna put the dust jacket on this to talk to you about it, but can we talk about how satisfying it is that the whole thing is black? I love that. I had a suspicion that it was just sequel syndrome in the first 40 pages, and I was right because, oh boy, did we get into it so quickly. I wrote notes so I could remember because there were many twisties and turns, and I'm going to try to give you most of my thoughts spoiler-free, and then we'll talk juicy spoilers because oh boy, do I have things to say. So we are now back at Baz Guy. Violet's in her second year, so we have kind of like a similar structure as the first book, which I think is giving it a lot more, it's moving faster, I would say, than the first book did, because obviously we've already seen everything. They don't need to explain everything to us. We've met like the new class of people. Some of the people have connections to people we know from Fourth Wing, and that is very exciting. We also have a new commander guy in charge, Commander Varick, I think is his name. Is that his name? Varish, Commander Varish, Commandant Varish, I don't know. He's insane. It's giving Umbridge. It's giving Umbridge is what it's giving. It's, I'm having a good time. I love a big bad, and we have a big bad to rally against. This is so interesting because we have all of these secrets that we can't tell about this revolution, and there are like, Violet's trying to figure out who she can trust, and Xaden is being Xaden. Honestly, my least favorite part of this right now is their relationship, although it is, they're pining for each other, because they're obviously in love and they're obviously attracted to each other, and Violet doesn't trust Xaden, and so he like won't do anything because he doesn't want to use sex as a way to make her fall in love with him, whatever. That's super annoying, but it is kind of hot. So that's what's going on with their relationship. I literally wrote, Xaden sucks, but I like him, and that is what I have to say about that. I think this book is a lot funnier than Fourth Wing was. I don't remember laughing out loud reading Fourth Wing. It felt very dark to me, but this one has the comic relief that I needed. Maybe it's because our characters know each other better and they can joke around a little bit, but it's funny. I'm having a good time. Taryn continues to be my favorite character. He's just a big grumpy boy dragon, and I love him. There's stuff going on with the dragons that I'm interested in. There's stuff going on with Xaden that I'm interested in. There's stuff going on with Violet that I'm interested in. There's stuff going on in the scribe quadrant that I'm interested in. Like, there's just a lot going on, and I'm eating it up. I think you probably saw while I was filming me reading this, there's just twist after twist after twist, and there's deaths that are occurring that I read Fourth Wing kind of did this. You get attached to someone and then they die, but like, oh my goodness, Iron Flame is really going for it. I'm having a fantastic time. Let's talk spoilers. Now is your chance to click to the next section if you don't want spoilers. Commander Atos is an absolute savage when he said secrets make for poor leverage. They die with the people who keep them, and then sends a bunch of people to assassinate Violet and all of her friends. Nadine, my jaw was on the floor. My jaw was absolutely on the floor. This kid, this first year, is like, hey, which one of you is Violet Sorrengail? And then Nadine like makes a joke and it's like, oh, it's me. And he fucking snaps her neck? I'm sorry, what? I had to take a break. I had to take a break. I was like, Rebecca Yarros did what now? That was insane. This new commander is crazy, like I said, giving Umbridge. The standoff with Taryn and his dragon, what's his name? Solus. That dragon is psychotic. He just decided to light a bunch of people on fire for no reason, like bonded people to their dragons. And everyone's standing there like, excuse me? Yeah, that was wild. I think it is so funny how Taryn is like the biggest, baddest dragon and all the other dragons know it. This vice commandant dude, Varys, I'm sorry, oh, I forgot his name. I really don't like him. He just has it out for Violet. The way he almost made her burn out. What a rude person to make someone do so many lightning strikes that they almost die, and that was like a punishment because she won't make Andarna show up. Like, this guy is really just not following the rules of dragonkind, and I am so excited to watch him get eaten by a dragon. If you've read this, please tell me that he gets eaten by a dragon in this book. He better die, and I will not accept any death other than Andarna eating him. That's what I would like, please and thank you. Absolutely so cool that Andarna is a teenager. I think she's really, I'm really enjoying her little snooty interludes while she's in her little sleepy thing. I really hope that she comes out of that before the end of this book and gets to be a badass dragon, and then Violet's gonna have 2 full-grown dragons. That is really cool. And again, I hope she eats that guy because he sucks and he deserves to get eaten by a dragon. I don't think I want her to incinerate him. I think I want her to chomp him. Taryn joking about that guy being a snack, so funny. I loved that. Okay, let's talk about the first years, because Liam's sister hating Violet, incredible choice. I really like that. I like that a lot, because we had this situation where Violet hated Xaden and then he had to protect her, and now she's on the other side of it, and I think that's funny. I really hope that she doesn't die. The whole Liam dying thing was such a gut punch in Fourth Wing. They better not kill his sister. I would be mad. Why is there a prince? I didn't think that the royalty was gonna get involved, but I guess there's a prince. But I feel like he is gonna be important at the plot part. He's probably gonna like join the revolution or something. And then he'll go talk to the king, and then they'll get the king on their side, whatever. Maybe that's what's gonna happen. That's my theory. The prince is gonna be important, mark my words. Or he's gonna die. Who knows what she'll do. I'm having a great time. I'm gonna go read because there's literally nothing else I would rather do with my time. I am 174 pages in, and I've been underlining things because they've been incredible. I'm having a great time. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm gonna shut up and start reading. This was great. I'm glad we can talk spoilers. I hope this is what you wanted with spoilers. I hope you've already read the book. I hope you're not expecting me to outline everything that's happening in this and you just want to gossip about it with me in the comments, because that's the format I've chosen to go with. I really just wanted to gossip about the things that made me gasp out loud. Okay, love you, bye. I have now reached part 2 of Iron Flame, and we have a lot to catch up on because a lot of things have been happening. Thing number 1, I am now painting what is going to be my bedroom, and I'm very excited. So hopefully we'll have that wrapped up by the time I finish this. I have been devouring the audiobook and I'm past due for an update, so I need to go paint. But first, we need to chat about this because I feel like I'm on a roller coaster of emotions. The first time I talked to you, I was not having a good time, and then I was having a fantastic time, and now I'm not having a great time anymore, and I'm really bummed about it. I feel like the first half of this was so interesting and I was really excited about everything. It really has second book in a trilogy syndrome, and I don't know if this is going to be a trilogy or a longer series, but it's kind of giving the second book of Mistborn, which drove me absolutely crazy because there was just so much conversation about this relationship. It's just so petty and insecure and weird, and I'm not having a good time with it. And I really wish that it weren't that way, because I don't think that it makes sense for our characters. Like, they were so fine at the end of book 1, and now it's really annoying me. I don't know, it's super boring and I'm not having a good time. I feel like the Andarna timeline really should have been moved up quicker. That should have happened faster. I feel like there's just so much annoyingness going on between Xaden and Violet right now that I'm just not interested. So my midpoint updates are Xaden and Violet annoying me, and Darna's whole situation not moving fast enough for me, and the whole thing with Violet and her friends and not being able to tell them about this revolution, and it's getting on my nerves. I just want her to tell them so we can get on with the rest of the plot. I will say, this book really feels like, unfortunately, it doesn't feel like it was planned out. Like, I really feel like Rebecca wrote the first book, sold it, then wrote Iron Flame, sold it, and now she's gonna write the third one. It's honestly not feeling like a super cohesive story because our second year students are doing all of these things. We knew second year students in book 1. We never had any inclination that any of this was going on behind the scenes, and it's stuff that you would be able to tell that it's going on. So I don't know. I don't love that. I can look past that. I will say the stuff that these second year students are having to do at Basgiath is absolutely insane. And I don't think I have the ability to tell you any more than that without going into spoilers. So this concludes my spoiler-free section. Actually, a couple last things before we do spoilers. The spicy scenes, I do not like. There are too many of them. They are too graphic. I think I am more of a closed-door girly. I have been known to enjoy a smutty scene every now and again. Not loving them in here. They're giving me the ick so much, and there are too many of them, and that's what I'll say on that. I also feel like the representation, the EDS stuff, has really just dropped off in quality. I absolutely loved how it was done in Fourth Wing, and I can't say I like it in Iron Flame. There was just so much conversation in Fourth Wing about what Violet herself could do to make herself less prone to injury, what mobility aids she needed in order to make that happen, what support she needed from other people, what mental fortitude she has because she lives her life in pain. And I feel like those conversations are still kind of happening in here, but to a much lesser extent. It doesn't feel as unique or interesting or helpful. And I feel like that was a huge part of what made Fourth Wing so important to me. And it's just, it's falling a little flat in here. It's just feeling like a romantic-y fun time. And that's totally fine because that is primarily what this book is. But that's not what Fourth Wing was to me. And I think that will always have a special place in my heart. And it's just, it's not really hitting the same buttons in this one. But I am excited to see how part 2 goes and how this wraps up. And now let's talk spoilers. If you don't want to see them, there's timestamps in the description so you can skip on out of here and don't spoil it for yourself. Okay. Oh my goodness. What's it called? The groundwork RCS thing? That's insane. They remove their connection to their dragons, drop them in the middle of nowhere, give them 2 different maps and say, survive. By the way, there's dragons hunting you. That's horrifying. That's terrifying. I loved that. I loved that. The whole torture thing, I thought that was very interesting. This dude absolutely sucks and I hate him so much. And let's talk about, because I just got to the point where he dies. What's his name? The Vice Commandant. You guys know who he is. Varric. That dude. I hate him so much and I'm bummed. I'm actually really upset that Andarna didn't get to bite his head off. I really wanted that to happen. I'm glad that Dane had his little comeback. I'm glad that Xaden was there. And I'm glad that Violet was the one who actually killed him. But also, I really wish that Andarna had chomped his head off. I feel like that would have been a really nice point. I would say in this section, the most interesting things were all of the second year stuff when they are going through the interrogation and the torture and all of that kind of stuff. Super interesting. Loved that plot point. Not loving the Xaden and Violet will they won't they. I really thoroughly despised our whole situation with Karina, I think is her name. And that whole like jealousy weird thing that was going on. I think it's so normal to be feeling a little weird about someone that your current partner has dated before, but it was just super annoying. I did love the way that it wrapped up and the whole Xaden losing control situation. I thought that was hilarious. I feel like that was a good burn. I feel like that was hot, but otherwise I hated that whole interaction. I did not like that. I'm really enjoying this training sequence with her trying to figure out how to use her signet in a more controlled way with the conduit. I'm loving all of that. I'm really glad that that is the direction we went with the magic. I was really worried at the end of Fourth Wing when she got stabbed with that poison tip dagger that we were gonna go on this Violet lost her magic and has to try to get it back journey that I hate. It is my least favorite trope in fantasy and it happens all the time and it makes me want to hit my head against the wall. I really don't like it. I can't tell you why I hate it, just that I do. And I'm glad we didn't go there in this one. I hope that we continue to not go there because I am enjoying Violet learning how to control her power in a training montage. You guys know I love a training montage. So I'm loving that part. I am really interested to see how these griffins are going to interact with our characters. I'm really glad that Andarna is back. Interesting the way that this whole wing situation has been working. Andarna's wing like won't fully extend and she's got, I don't know, some stuff going on with her and it's feeling like it's a parallel to Violet and her body not functioning properly. I don't know how I feel about that. Stay tuned on that. Really enjoying Andarna being a hungry, bitchy teenager though. I think that's hilarious. I need to go paint this room, so I'm going to stop talking. Those are all the thoughts that I have. I'm gonna listen to this audiobook while I paint and I will pause and let you guys know when I have more thoughts. I lied, I have one more thing to say. So I was listening to this audiobook on Everand, which used to be Scribd, and there were some moments where it would like, I don't know, at the beginning of a chapter, it would like cut out a word or two. I don't know if it's a me thing on my phone, but it kept happening and I was getting really annoyed with it. So I managed to get the audiobook from my library. I put myself on the wait list like as soon as the library got a copy of it. I managed to get the copy from my library and that's not happening with it. So if you are listening to this on Scribd or Everand and you're having issues, it could be Scribd/Everand, not the audiobook itself. I think the actual audiobook is fine because the one from the library is fine. Okay, that's what I have to say. Let's go paint. about 30 pages from the end. Let's finish this together. All right, friends, I have now finished reading Iron Flame, and this was disappointing. I really hated the ending of this. Webster wanted some cuddles, so he's gonna join us for our final update here. I wanted this to go so much better than it did, and I will say, for maybe like page 50 to page 250, 280, I was having such a good time, and the rest of this book fell super flat for me. I wanted this to be what Fourth Wing was to me, and I don't think it is. I don't know if I'm gonna continue in this series. I think if you're going into this expecting it to give you something other than a romantasy dragony time, you're gonna be disappointed. I should have known better than to expect that from this, because I went into Fourth Wing expecting it to be a romantasy dragony good time, and I got that, and I also got so much more, and that's why that book was so important to me. I found this representation that I didn't know that I needed. I didn't really get that in here, and that sucks, and I'm disappointed in that. I've heard some people on the internet in the past couple of weeks talking about this publisher and talking about their strategy, and I'd like to kind of share my thoughts on that with you guys. So this publisher, Red Tower Books, is very much all about marketing and creating bingeable content, and so typically in book releases, we see at maximum one full-size book a year from an author. And obviously Fourth Wing came out in 2023 as well. So we are seeing this publishing schedule kind of accelerated. And these are big books. This is 600 pages, but it's about 250,000 words, which is a chunky book. To give you some context, the audiobook for this is 28 hours and 60 minutes. It's a big book. Some people have commented on this and are talking about how they're worried that this will lower the quality of books that are being released from this publisher. I don't think any author should be pressured to put out books before they're ready. I don't know if that's the case here with Rebecca Yarros, because if we're looking at the marketing strategy for this publisher, obviously it worked, right? This is the biggest release since the last book of Harry Potter. This is gonna be a huge series, and they've marketed this very effectively. As someone who works in marketing, they've done everything right. These special editions with the sprayed edges, the marketing campaigns for Fourth Wing, we knew this was gonna be a huge book before it even came out, before the reviews ever started coming in. We knew what was gonna be happening with this book, and I think they've marketed it very effectively. But I would say my plea to Red Tower is to allow their authors more time to write these books. This book really does feel like it could have done with a lot of editing. There were parts of this that just dragged on and on. There were parts of this that I found so incredibly interesting. I know Rebecca Yarros has that talent as a writer, but I feel like this could have done with a lot of editing. And it's also very clear reading this that I don't think she planned out the plot of this book before she finished Fourth Wing. I do think it is very evident that Rebecca Yarros did not know what a second-year student at Basgiath was doing until she wrote Iron Flame. I think personally this felt like a more immature book than Fourth Wing did, and Fourth Wing made me roll my eyes a lot about things, and this one just, it really kind of feels YA. It's not YA, it's an adult book, but I was really excited to be super excited about this with all of you guys, and unfortunately I'm just not. And I think it's my own fault in a way. Like I knew what Fourth Wing was. I went into Fourth Wing with really low expectations and it absolutely shattered them. I was so excited to have read that book, and I love that book so much. This one, I went into it with really high expectations and I was let down. There were a lot of twists and turns in the last chunk of this book, so we need to talk spoilers and then we'll wrap this up. I have notes here, and I have a note written that just says Jack Barlow, because what was that plot line? Could someone explain that to me? I was so confused. Why was he not dead? Why was he a dark wielder? That storyline, I'm sorry, I absolutely hated it. I hated it so much. I don't understand why he needed to come back, why he needed to save Violet's life after trying to kill her last year. Like, I hated it. I'm sorry. It didn't make any sense to me, and I hated it. And then him removing the wards at Basgiath and killing his own dragon. There was a lot going on with that, and I don't have any more to say about it. I just wanted to say thumbs down to Jack Barlow and that entire timeline. He was such a good villain in Fourth Wing. And then we brought him back for why? I don't know. Well, actually, I think I do know why. I have a theory. It's because we killed our big bad too early on. I can't ever remember his name. I'm so sorry. Varish? Commandant Varish? Whatever his name is. He sucked. I really wanted him to live a little bit longer. Don't get me wrong. I wanted him to die, but I did want Andarna to chomp his head off. Let's talk about Andarna and her being a special dragon. I totally called that. It's like her scales are shifting colors. She's special. She's a special dragony. I called that so early on. That was fine. I don't know. I thought it was kind of annoying. We never really came back to the whole Andarna's wing being kind of messed up situation and the whole will she ever bear a rider? We never completed that plot line. So, okay, that was interesting. And then we have to talk about Xaden. Obviously something happens at the end of the book, and Xaden channels from not his dragon and becomes one of these dark wielder people. I may not read the third book just because I don't want to deal with that plotline. We're basically gonna have the same exact thing that happened at the beginning of this book, where Violet doesn't trust Xaden and Xaden is like having his little internal turmoil, and I just don't want to do it again. I just don't want to. I don't care, and I don't want to follow that plotline. I'm sorry I'm being so negative, but I really, really disliked a lot of these plot points, and I think I need to stop talking to you because I want to still have nice things to say about this book, because objectively this was a very fun experience to go to the midnight release and do all this stuff. So no more spoilers. We're done. That's all I have to say. And that was that. That was Iron Flame. We reread Fourth Wing. We read Iron Flame. I still love Fourth Wing. It's still a 5-star book in my opinion. Oh, I feel so bad about this. My feelings right now, I want to give it a 2.5, but I can't. I can't do that. I'm gonna give it a 3. That's my rating. I think it's a 3. A 3 is a good rating. Objectively, a 3 is above average. I enjoyed this book. I had 5-star feelings for a small chunk of the book, but I had really not 5-star feelings for most of it. And that really sucks, because I know based on Fourth Wing and based on the chunk of this that I really liked, that this author can write. I just disliked a lot of the choices that were made in here. I thought it was too long. I didn't love the way that this worked. I probably will pick up book 3, but I'm definitely not making content about it because I really wanted to love this and I didn't, and that sucks. So please let me know in the comments, do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you read Iron Flame? Have you read Fourth Wing? Will you be picking up book 3? What are your thoughts and feelings about this publisher, this author? I would love to have a conversation with you in the comments. If y'all haven't read Iron Flame and Fourth Wing, I would maybe stay out of the comments because I feel like there may be some spoilery discussions in there. Feel free to DM me on Instagram if you have thoughts and opinions that you don't want to be spoiled for, you don't want to go in the comments, whatever. You guys know how to reach me. I love you all. I will see you next week. Happy reading. Bye.